Could this possibly be like the best, the best cheap whiskey? Welcome back to Whisky Whims with me, Stuart. Today we've got a blended whiskey. It's Isle of Mist, which is 40% ABV. This normally costs about £23. I think I've seen it as high as £25. I got it for sale and it only cost me £19. This has been recommended by Mark Jolly Topper on Instagram. I'll put his Instagram link into the page or in the description below. He does a lot of tastings in the Edinburgh area. But anyway, I've been following him for a while and he's raved on about Isle of Mist for a bit. Or maybe not raved, that's maybe a bit, that seems a bit negative. But he's talked about Isle of Mist quite a lot. Supposedly a lot of Lafroig in here, or the majority of it, the makeup from the malt side is Lafroig. I'm not sure if that has any credibility or not. But yeah, 40% ABV, most likely chill filtered and most likely got added colour in. There's no age statement. It is a non-age statement. Like I said, it only costs £19. I don't normally buy off recommendations, which is a strange thing for a reviewer to say. But yeah, I end up just picking. I suppose within my circle, the Tabes members, I tend to favour their recommendations. But yeah, like I say, I don't always. I tend to seek out things for myself. But anyway, we'll get down to this and see if it's a whiskey win or a whiskey bin. Could this possibly be like the best, the best cheap whiskey? I'm not sure, but I have had quite a fair bit out of it. I think I bought it. Royal Mail Whiskies had some sort of 10% sale or something like that not too long ago. So I'm trying to think when that was. Might have been January time. Might have been December actually. I think it might have been December when I picked this up. But we'll get down to the nose, the palate, and the finish. We'll see if it's a whiskey win or a whiskey bin. So the nose being 40% ABV, you can just stick it right in there.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
It's not that bad. It's not too punchy. There's not a lot of boldness to it. But what is there are kind of stewed apples. Quite a light smoke on the nose. I can't really recognise the peat, but there's definitely a bit of like stewed apples and a little bit of smoke. What else is there? I've not actually done any notes for this. It's one, like I say, I have been drinking, but I've not actually compiled any notes towards it. It's not even got a cork. It's just kind of foil or aluminium or aluminum lid. It's a little creamy. And possibly some nuts. Yeah, possibly something like hazelnut. The palate. Not a great mouthfeel because of the 40% ABV, but the peat really helps carry it. It helps it seem a little bit better, a little bit more developed than it actually is, which isn't a bad thing because it's actually enjoyable. So there's heavy amounts of peat, there's saline, it's definitely salty, there's seafood, there's like those kind of, and I know I keep saying salty and seafood, they're pretty much the same thing, but there's like Tux, those salty Tux crackers. It's a little bit that kind of, I don't know how to describe this, but when you get like a bunch of crackers like Tux or David Little biscuits, and you kind of chew in them for quite a bit, and you mush them up and you get that mushy mushy composition of the biscuits, of the crackers, and it's that flavour. It's a little salty, a little creamy, a little starchy. It's that. So whatever the hell that is, that's in the palate. Like I said, it's quite fleeting. It's not bold. It's not a great mouthfeel. It's not going to coat the mouth. It's just there. It's pleasant. It's but I don't know if enjoyable. It's there, but it's pleasant. It's not. I've had other whiskies that have just been a little bit lackluster. And this is lackluster, but you got to remember it's a £19 whiskey, £20 whiskey, and it is 40% ABV. But yeah, the finish. The finish is probably short to medium. I think the peat is helping extend the duration of the finish. If it wasn't for the peat, it'd probably disappear quite rapidly, should I say. But in the finish, there's more of that, like I say, that there's like a peaty creaminess in the finish. It's not unnecessarily, it's not like a medicinal peat. It's more earthy. There is a little bit of funkiness in the finish. A little kind of funky dunnage element in the finish that actually makes the whole experience a little bit more enjoyable. It kind of peaks within the finish, within this funkiness. This funky element brings it up. Definitely elevates the whiskey as a whole. What else in the finish? Probably just more generic nuts, a more generic nuttiness in the finish. So yeah, I think that's all I've really got to say. Like I said, this is a £19 whiskey. They're cheap. You might know or you may not know, but from my spending habits, you probably couldn't tell with when it comes to whiskey, with what I buy. But I am tight, and the fact that I have picked this up for £19 makes it all the better. And the fact that it's quite palatable and quite pleasant, definitely elevates that, my excitement for it. So yeah, we'll go down in the review, see if it's a Whisky Win or a Whisky Bin. So do I think it's worth it? Yeah, it's cheap. There's no other way about it. But if this is all I could afford, I wouldn't be annoyed. If this was my only accessible dram for peatedness, if this was my only accessible whiskey for like affordability, I don't think I'd be too annoyed, because it's tasty. Or maybe tasty's a bit. Sorry, I just barked. Maybe tasty's a bit too positive. It's just pleasant. I don't know how else to describe it. If you want peat, if you want cheap, if you want simple, this is a dram for you. It could easily be one that's what does everybody call it, like a cupboard filler or a replacement whiskey or something. I don't know what they call it, like a day-to-day dram. If you're like if you need to drink whiskey every day, and it's causing you to burn a hole in your wallet and your bank account, then this is the one to buy because it's cheap. I'm just giving people a way to accept alcoholism. So yeah, I think it's worth it at £19. I even think at £22, £23 it's worth it. £25, probably pushing it, but it's still worth it. Anything above that, it's probably not worth it. This is what like a supermarket whiskey should be. Anyway, would I buy it again? No, I don't think I would. I think I'd be lying to myself if I said I would buy it again. It's not like I wouldn't have another bottle. I would like to try what their other expressions are. I think they've got slightly more expensive bottles, and I don't mean ludicrously expensive. I think the next one up's like £35 or £40. But I'd like to see what else they have to offer, because this is pretty good for a bog standard whiskey. I don't think it's too grainy. I don't think the grain overcomes or oversteps its mark too much, so that's also a kind of testament to the blending, to who's ever blended this together, because it doesn't feel like like a supermarket whiskey that you get. It's just a cheap blend, and that you get a lot of those kind of grainy, synthetic, or however you want to describe it, that grain element to it that can be quite off-putting in just a generic like whiskey. I don't know what that was. So yeah, I don't think I would buy it. I think I would buy it again, but I'd like to try the other expressions. This has made me want to try their other stuff. And would I recommend it? Yeah. I think everybody should try this. Try this once in your lifestyle. It's a lot like, it's a lot like an anagram that rhymes with Lana, or not rhymes with Lana, that's an anagram of Lana. You should try it at least once in your life. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that before I get too involved. It's a Whisky Win. It's 283. I wouldn't buy it again. I'd recommend it, and I think it's worth it. So thanks for watching. I've been Stuart. This has been Whisky Whims. I'll see you later.